Hey everyone, welcome back to Playing Quietly. My name is Ryan, and today I'm bringing you another Remnant to the Awakened King guide. Today we're going to be talking about the Atonement Fold, how to get it and why it's so good, as well as a few different applications that we can use it with. Alright, so first things first, what we're going to want to do is re-roll our adventure mode for the Awakened King DLC. Choose whatever difficulty you like. And we're going to start out in, of course, the Forlorn Coast. Once we load in, we are simply just going to follow the path on screen. After we've cleared out the trash, we're going to find our buddy in the sewer, Laywise. Now, at first, he's not going to want to talk to us, but there are a few ways we can get him to talk. Number one, we can progress our way through the story, or, better yet, we can just talk to him a whole bunch until he gets annoyed with us. We can knock over his pot by accident. There we go. So once we engage him in dialogue 3 times, he should talk to us. There we go. We're going to skip through all that. I don't believe the dialogue choices matter all that much, but certainly if you choose the top choice, you will get your way through. Eventually, he will have the option to craft something. He will scoff at us, and then once that dialogue is through, he will open up his shop. Now here, of course, is where the Atonement Fold is going to be. I, however, have already purchased it, but if you haven't, it will be in this area here in his inventory. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the ring itself. Here it is, the Atonement Fold. We are going to self-inflict bleeding status upon the wearer, causing 1.1 bleed damage per second, and increases our critical chance by 10%. Now let's for a moment talk about the concept of a stinger. A stinger is a negative status effect that is going to unlock some positive effects for us. In this case, the stinger is going to be the bleed. So the concept behind the build that I am currently running is almost I believe actually every piece of jewelry that I am wearing aside from the Atonement Fold requires a stinger. So let's take a look at the Nightweaver's Grudge here first. The tooltip says that we are going to gain 20% critical chance and haste when within 22.5 meters of an entity suffering from status effects. Now, that entity is actually going to be us, and that is what is going to make the Atonement Fold here so very broken. The fact that so much of the wording in this game is so ambiguous really helps us out here. For example, on our next one here, the alchemy ring says that increases the lifesteal of 6% while suffering from a negative status effect or blight. So this one says the user has to be suffering from it, whereas the Nightweaver's Grudge just says an entity must be within 22.5 meters. So 2 very different wordings, but essentially the Atonement Fold gives us that same effect. Same thing is going to hold true for the Blood-Tinged Ring. We are going to gain 2 health regeneration per second when within 25 meters of a bleeding entity. Now, this one actually does specify the damage type, but since we are suffering from bleeding, no problem. Blood-Tinged Ring honestly isn't all that great, but it is going to counteract the damage that we are receiving from Atonement Fold and then some. And for the last bit, here we have the Hardcore Metal Band. Taking damage adds 1 stack of Bulwark, which individually falls off after 10 seconds with a max of 10 stacks. Again, the Stinger is very ambiguous and very different wording. Just taking 1 damage, that still counts as a Stinger there. And we get a stack of Bulwark. So we see here that we have 4 different items with 4 very different wordings. And the Atonement Fold is covering all of those because it is inflicting us with that constant stinger. Now, let's quickly talk about one of the other very popular stingers out there, and that is going to be the Firestorm setup. Now, with Firestorm, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be popping our mod and dealing essentially damage to ourselves as well as the enemies around us. And that is going to activate things like our hardcore metal band and any other thing that requires us to be taking negative status damage. Now, the thing that I don't like about the Firestorm setup is that it is dependent on us having mod power. And in boss fights, we're almost always going to be able to keep Firestorm up. That's not really a problem. Where I've found the Firestorm setup lacking is in the trash content. It's not always going to be there, and granted, trash isn't often going to kill you, but in builds that are extremely immobile, it's not necessarily very fun to play that style, and a lot of the Firestorm setups are extremely immobile. There are also going to be just some parts in some boss fights where you are not going to have Firestorm up. It's few and far between, but in those settings, I still say that Atonement Fold might be the better setup, because it's essentially just set it and forget it. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, hopefully I've earned your subscription. Don't forget to check back every day for more Remnant 2 content. Until then, we'll see you guys next time. Have yourselves a good one.